All right, guys. Good morning. Good morning to you. It is Wednesday, November 25th, 2020. This morning, we're going to talk a little bit about the power of asking questions. The power of asking questions is massively overlooked in today's world, and I think it's a very powerful way to gain perspective and knowledge. And we're going to talk a little bit about that this morning. Let's get started.
It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up.
All right, guys. Good morning to you and happy Wednesday to you. It's the day before Thanksgiving. Happy to be here with you guys this morning, and we're going to chat a little bit this morning about a topic that kind of got spurred from some conversation that happened yesterday. For those of you who were on the Top Contractor School Elite call with Mr. Jay Duran, I think, almost everybody on that call messaged me privately and talked about, just the power of the way that Jay kind of approached that session, right? And the way that Jay interacted with people during that session. And the most powerful thing that was consistent in those conversations after the fact was the fact that, Jay consistently asked questions of people and consistently just challenge their thinking, right? Just kind of, instead of giving people answers to questions, kind of ask a question in response and you get a much better result. So that kind of spurred this topic this morning. And I wanted to share it with you guys because I think the conversations that happened after that call yesterday afternoon, for me, were extremely powerful. And I think that it just kind of led me to see how much of that doesn't happen in our world. And in fact, one of the conversations that I had after that call was around that. Like, man, we need more of that in our world. We need more of people asking questions instead of just, giving their opinions and walking away. So we're going to dig into that a little bit this morning. Want to say good morning to some folks. Good morning, Kim, Bill Gray. Good morning to you, man. Jared Bird, Ryan Austin, good morning, my brother. Hope everything is well up there in Michigan. Tammy, good morning to you. Always good to see you. Cindy, good morning to you. Cam Roberts, good morning, my brother. Great to see you on the podcast yesterday with Lewis. Great job, man. Adam Schiltz, good morning to you. Carla, Julie, and Christina, good morning to you guys. And thank you guys for being here and sharing yet another morning with me here. So, the power of asking questions, guys, I think it cascades every aspect of life, right? And I think that as our society continues to move, faster and faster, and these tools that we have at our disposal, phones and computers and the technology that we're using right now to communicate, I think that, the art of asking questions, the art of being inquisitive is slowly dying, right? It is slowly just kind of going away. And really the result of that is that, people are being more divided than ever. And the reason that people are divided is that these technology platforms give us this ability to just, go to our corner, go to the place where all the people agree with us, because they're very easy to find on technology, and to sit there comfortably, to sit there and enjoy ourselves amongst people that believe what we believe, that agree with us on every topic, and support the things that we say. And so what happens there is that we ultimately create an echo chamber of our own thoughts, of our own actions, of the things that we seek validation for. And we're losing that art of actually asking questions. And I'll tell you why I think that is so dangerous, because, when I am having a conversation with someone, the number one thing that I'm trying to do when I'm having, whether it's just a personal conversation or a business conversation, if I'm trying to acquire a customer, is I'm asking questions. right? I'm asking questions to keep that conversation moving. I'm asking questions to kind of try to understand their pattern of thinking, what's important to them, who they are as a person, what kind of makes them tick. And I think that, if you guys really think about it, these platforms that we have, whether it be Facebook or Instagram or anywhere that we communicate, so quickly and efficiently and in short little bursts, it's far too often that we're not really asking any questions. I think that's also the power of these types of shows, podcasts, when people are interviewing each other, things like that, because it's a real conversation, right? It's not just a bunch of back and forth or arguments about politics or whatever's going on in the world or whatever controversy is happening, and people, kind of go to their sides. And I think it's important for us to recognize that, right? To recognize the threat that exists for us. And so one of the debates that we went through yesterday was actually around social media and around the concept of how social media is, quote unquote, destroying our society. And I want you guys to think about that one, because that is an easy statement to make. We actually see that statement made quite a bit in society today. And so the question you have to ask yourself in response to that is social media ruining society? Or is social media just exposing what has always existed? And is it making it easier for people to show that, for people to show how they really feel, the shallowness of their thinking, the opinions that may hurt other people's feelings? And these are great conversations to have, right? Because I think that, with all the things that are going on in our world, this is the way that we actually understand each other better. It is through the power of learning how to ask questions. And as we were going through this yesterday and the conversations happened afterwards, it really struck me that, this is a really important time in our history as a society for us to understand that power of asking questions, the power of not just offering your opinion, but genuinely trying to understand someone else's. And then, as that conversation happened through the Top Contractor Elite call yesterday, it started to become more and more and more clear just how all of this stuff is interconnected. And I'll give you some examples. So when you do not ask questions, or you become, and I'll give you myself as an example. I'm a person that gets a lot of questions asked of me, right? And so before I started working with Jay Duran, before I started, having Jay help me understand a little bit more about how I think, how I react, the words that I use to speak to people, all of those things were unclear to me. I try to self-reflect as often as possible. Hopefully you guys too. I try to be the best person, to be the best husband, to be the best father. But the real truth of the matter is that we don't, in any way, shape, or form, we do not spend enough time trying to figure out all of this stuff about ourselves. And we certainly don't spend enough time trying to find out what is going on with others. And so for me, I have been a person that has had a lot of questions asked of me on a daily basis. Like, what do I do with this? Or how should this go? What is your opinion on that? And what I found myself doing, and hopefully this will set off a light bulb for some of you guys, is I find myself giving people the answer quite a bit. And so in the hierarchy of society, we are ultimately making people very dependent on us when we do that. When we don't take the long way and actually ask questions of people. So, let's take your children, for example. Your children ask you a question. The best way to actually educate them and allow them to think for themselves is to walk them through, by asking them questions, walk them through what are their thoughts. What do they think they should do? what are the options that we have? Do we do this or do we not? What do we lose if we do this versus that? So walking people through the options, but at the same time allowing them to make the decision is a really critical piece of being a leader in this world. And by the way, we're all leaders, whether you're a parent, whether you're a friend, whether you're a real, a leader in business, you have a title that's a leader or not, we're all leaders. So when we think about this power of asking questions, I really believe that it's the missing piece of so many things in society. It's the missing piece of marriages that really struggle. So often we find ourselves answering the questions of our spouse and thinking to ourselves something while we're answering that question. And that doesn't help your marriage get healthier. What helps your marriage get healthier is by working through those challenges, genuinely asking questions to try to understand each other's thinking, genuinely being inquisitive about how the other person feels. And so when you think about that from a marriage standpoint, then take that into business, or take that into friendship, or take that into any relationship that you have in this world. And what you find is this, and this is what I have found out about myself through this work that I am doing, is that how you do something in one part of your life is absolutely, if not 100% accurate, pretty close to it, how you do it in every other aspect of your life. And so when we can retrain ourselves to take a step back and actually think through these challenges and actually have a genuine conversation that helps the other person figure things out for themselves, we do two things. We eliminate that dependency, which is a heavy burden to carry at times if you have a lot of people who are dependent on you. And it also builds an immense confidence in the other person. And I think that so often we get frustrated with people in our lives, with people who exist in close proximity to us, because those people are, maybe asking a lot of questions, or they're calling you for approval, or they're just constantly bouncing things off of you. And the reality is, I would challenge you guys to think about this. Are you enabling that? Are you giving them answers, which is essentially just a little, hit of confidence, a hit of validation that they get that makes them feel good, makes them feel secure. And so they come back for more. And that process will continue to repeat itself. And I think that if you actually look at your life, you'll find out that happens in so many different aspects. If that is true for you, it's probably going to happen in many different aspects. And for those of us who lead people in business, it is very powerful to understand exactly who you are in your role in life, right? And so often, I'll just give you an example. I talked to 3 people yesterday that all after that call, we had quick conversations that exposed a very similar challenge that they have. And it's all the same root problem, that we all do these things for the right reasons. We think that we're helping. We think that we're solving problems. We want to genuinely help people, and we don't realize maybe the cascade effect that happens on the other side of that by, again, not asking questions, just giving an opinion. When debates are happening on social media in today's world, so often what happens if somebody gets really upset on social media? What do? They block the person, right? Or they unfriend the person, or they just hit the snooze button or whatever it is, so they don't have to see their posts. And the reality is, guys, that is how we lose intelligence in this world. When you do not attempt to understand the other side of all the things that happened this year in our world, I have genuinely tried to engage people, from the other side of issues in an effort to try and understand how somebody else would feel. And it has helped me greatly be able to balance things that I don't agree with, things that, I might think don't make any sense. We are told to just follow things and not ask questions. And I very much disagree with that. I very much disagree with this idea that nothing should be challenged, that our political figures in our government are deciding on. And the reason for that is I don't think that a couple of people in a room and some scientists, as they call them, are as qualified as the entire United States of America, or the entire state of Pennsylvania, in the case of the state that I live in. And I think that debate and asking questions and leaning into the conflict that sometimes is produced from asking those questions is one of the most critical things that we can do for the future of ourselves, our children, our grandchildren. It's leaning into that conflict and being willing to stand in that fire, whether that's in business with your employees, whether it's with your spouse, whether it's with your children, being able to stand in that conflict and teaching those people around you how to be comfortable being uncomfortable, leaning in and understanding that a debate leads to great places. It leads to better understanding. The power of asking questions and genuinely wanting to know the answer leads to great places, because I promise you will learn something if you just ask questions and actually want the answer. And you are willing to open your mind and listen to someone else's opinion and ask them. If you don't immediately understand, ask them follow-up questions to help you better understand what would make you feel that way. Has there been anything in your life that has led you to feel that way versus the opposite way? Has there, and you will start to quickly understand that everyone's opinion is based in something. It comes from some place, and it's not anywhere near as crazy as you think it is. It is because of experiences. It's because of fear. It's because of all kinds of things that you will find out and you will understand if you actually just ask questions. So often in business, we do pretty well as a company in acquiring customers. And I believe that we do that as a result of being great question askers. We go into meetings and the questions that we ask are better, are different, are genuine. We have a genuine interest in helping the customers that we service. And I'm not saying that other companies don't, but we have a genuine interest, not in doing people's construction work, but in solving their problems personally. So if I am working with someone that manages a property and we're going to do their parking lot, I want to understand what it is that they fear about that project. I want to understand what their experiences have been working with another contractor that maybe didn't quite go the way that they wanted it to. Because as I ask those questions and I gather that information, I have a crystal clear picture about how to give myself the best chance of making that customer happy, and I give that customer the best chance of having the exact experience that they want. But far too often in today's world, we are put on these platforms that shorten our ability to have conversation. It's very difficult to have a back and forth conversation in the comment section of a post. And so what happens is we get very pointed. We give our opinion. We give what we refer to as facts, but there are facts. And we aren't necessarily asking questions. So I would encourage you to think about this. Two things. Number one, when you are on social media going forward and you see something that you disagree with, genuinely lean into that conversation and ask questions of that person. and it will require them to give you an answer, because so often it's an opinion thrown back at an opinion, thrown back at another opinion, and there's no real meaningful conversation. It's just people stating what they believe. That doesn't help anybody understand how you get to that point. In real life, I challenge you this weekend as you're around people to ask them questions. Ask them how they're doing. How has 2020 made you feel? Are you doing okay? Are things good for you? How have things been at work? Has it been any different? How has the events of 2020 changed work for you? How has it changed your personal life? What are the challenges that you're facing? And by asking these questions and having people share their experiences, two things are going to happen. Number one, you're going to learn a lot about that person. And number two, you're going to feel a lot more normal yourself, because you're going to figure out that everybody has similar challenges. Everybody has similar things that are changing in their life, similar things that are very difficult for them to deal with at this particular moment. And you might be the person that helps them be able to get over that hump and not be so worried, for the rest of 2020. Maybe you can provide them with some perspective that helps them live the rest of 2020 just a little bit better. That's what I'm trying to do here every single morning with you guys, is just give you some kind of way to look at life that's a little bit different, that allows you to get out of bed and be a little more excited yesterday than you were today, to be able to have this conversation with someone and ask questions of somebody and understand that person just a little bit better. And when we do that, we genuinely make the world a better place. And that is, I think, what we're all here to do. Deep down, that's what we all want to do. Sometimes it feels impossible. Sometimes the things in front of us can make it more challenging if we're not mindful, if we're not present. The conversation about social media was an interesting one yesterday, because so many people agreed, like, social media is the demise of society. And the reality is this, guys, it's not the demise of society. It is doing nothing but exposing society. It is a tool to use. You can use it for positive. You can use it to grow a business. You can use it to build a list of friends that is extremely, extremely rewarding. I have done all of those things. I have also, at times in my life, gotten into debates online that were useless, just like most of you probably have. And what I've learned is that I get to choose how to use this tool. I get to choose how my conversations go with a person. I get to choose what questions I ask or don't ask. And when you ask questions, you understand people better. That's the bottom line. And when we don't ask questions, and when we don't use these tools for the right reasons, then you're going to think the same thing that all of those other people thought, which is social media is the demise of society. Well, it is, if you want to see it that way. Most definitely you could look at it that way. But the reality is, it is exactly what you will make of it. No different than your life. You have a choice as to how social media is for you. You can lean into those conflicts. You can ignore those conflicts. You can create conflicts, or you can completely avoid them. I would encourage you to get comfortable. When I say lean into conflict, I'm not telling you to go start a fight. I'm telling you to be in a conflict is to be educated. If you are able to keep your emotions in check and actually inquisitively ask the right questions. And so I encourage you to do that, and not just, on social media, but in your personal life. Actually ask questions of people and genuinely want to know the answer. And you're going to find that, again, pay attention to this. When you are asking other people questions, pay attention to how often people don't ask you any back. And you will start to see what the challenge is in our world of people understanding each other. Because when we're only offering opinions one direction and we're not trying to understand the opposite opinion, that is a challenging place to be. And it's a challenging place to be well-rounded in this world, to really understand people, to understand the things that are going on in the world. And that is probably one of the biggest challenges that we face as a society, is that we have the ability to avoid all that today. Think about that. We have the ability to avoid all of that conflict and to live in this world of social media where immediate validation is available to us almost all the time, where we can go and find a group of people that all agree with us, and we can feel really good about ourselves when it's all over. We can get into a conversation and have a bunch of people say, yeah, you're right. But what does that actually produce for us? Produces more of the same. So I encourage you guys to lean into that, to lean into the conflict. And again, this could be with your employees at work, asking them questions about what's going on with their life, and like genuinely wanting to know, how can we do better as a company, and genuinely wanting to know. How are you guys feeling as a result of everything that's transpired in 2020? Are people tired? Do they feel a little more exhausted than they normally do from the same exact things because of, the overarching stress or what's going on in the world? But genuinely asking these questions, and the power of that is straight up, it's just knowledge, right? You're going to gain a ton of knowledge. You're going to gain a ton more close relationships, and you're going to know a lot about a lot of people if you do it. And that is going to make your life more full. So with that said, that's all I got for today, guys. I hope it provided you a little bit of perspective, some things to think about. And I will see you guys again. I might be on tomorrow morning. I'm not sure. You guys can check it out. I think a lot of people will probably be sleeping in tomorrow, but if I might be on, we'll see. But regardless, I will definitely see you Friday morning right here at 7:30 a.m. again to talk about some more things that can provide you perspective, hopefully can provide you some a better way to look at life, a little bit more positivity in your world for the day. And with that said, I hope you guys have an amazing Thanksgiving. I am grateful and thankful for all of you guys that have been here so many mornings, man. Hundreds of thousands of views on this show over the 244 episodes that I've been doing it. And it means the world to me. So I just want you guys to know I am thankful for you. Wishing you and your families a very, very happy Thanksgiving. And I will see you guys Friday morning, same place, same time, right here on Morning Perspective. Love you.